Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and our team has reached out directly and indirectly since 2020 to over 300,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. So we're always happy about that. Help the fatherhood cause. Also, I'm a featured contributor on the Fly Nubian Queen Network. Fly Nubian Queen Network on YouTube is called The Place Where Black Women Have a Voice. Yes, I'm a Black man hosting on a Black woman's voice platform. But you know what? That can only happen by the higher power and two other higher powers in my journey, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins, and they have 581,000 YouTube subscribers on that platform. So I'm blessed to that. Also, we have to shout out Indie. I almost forgot for a second. There's too many things to say at times. Indie Soup Media. I'm also a featured contributor there. I'm also on their advisory board. What is Indie Soup Media? Indie Soup Media is a content creators channel, OTT network, independent content creators, about 26, 27 of them, and more to come. And that is powered by the great Dr. Tachi, who is based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So if you want to see the great independent content creator network creations, go to indiesoupmedia.tv and it'll take you on there. They're also on YouTube, and they already have, we've only been around, I guess I'm part of the party there. We've only been around for about a little over a month, and we have over 5,000 YouTube subscribers already. And I was chatting with Dr. Tachi offline yesterday, and he says, realistically, in the next 2 months, there'll be 10,000 subscribers there. And one of the shows you'll see on that platform is this one. And many episodes of Our Friend Coming Up Today replays are on that platform. So go support. I'm there. You should be there. As always, other things we need to just make sure we have today. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you want to advertise your business product or VIBESHOW.com. And as always, continue the conversation offline at our Discord channel. And I love Discord. It's such an easy place to create, nurture, and grow and engage with community. So let's see who's up already first thing in the morning. JJ Mars from Colorado. How are things in Colorado today? How is the weather? We've been getting, yesterday in Toronto, beautiful day. It was about 20 degrees Celsius. I mowed my lawn, did some yard work, like actually early in the morning, and it wasn't that cold. I was even pushing to maybe think wearing shorts yesterday, but it didn't happen. But we almost got there. So let's say hello to JJ Mars. Hope things are well with you as always. What else do we have going on? What's going on in your part of the world? What's going on for your weekend? Our good friend who's coming up in a few moments asked me, so how are you feeling? I have to admit, I'm a little tired. Yesterday was a long day. Yard work in the morning, went to see the parents. Then I had, I had to facilitate an online conversation for 2 hours. And then right after that, a 15-minute meeting, which I don't do that often. I usually don't do back-to-back things, but I did have a break after that. Then I hosted a live conversation last night about a memorial for the late Charles Officer, great Canadian filmmaker who we lost a little while back. And it was good to chat with Poise Dewhurst and Dalton Higgins, who I had not seen for a long time. And they're creating this. So we have JG Mar says, nice weather so far. Thank you so much. Cassandra says, hello, Cassandra. Where are you chiming in from? Please tell us. And if you're up to it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. But yeah, myself and I have another positive, productive day, because I don't like using the word busy, because I think busy is overrated. Have an live conversation or pre-recorded conversation today, and 1 or 2 meetings. For this afternoon, I'm planning to shut it down by about 5 o'clock today, because I've got a number of things to do this weekend. So speak at the Dr. Vibe around 5, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Done. I've shut down for the rest of the day, because I got a number of things to do this weekend. So we're speaking that. I don't think Ryan's going to be with us today, because I know he is involved in an event called Branded, which is a conference for young entrepreneurs. Actually, I saw him send an email yesterday asking if there's 2 more entrepreneurs they could get help with. So I said, no, you know what? I need to give myself grace and give myself a break. In from Toronto. Excellent. Before we go for a quick break, I want to say thank you to all the people that watched a conversation a week ago today involving the allegations with the BBPA and financial mismanagement. I said alleged that was written on buyblacks.com. That story is not going away. I'm getting calls about it. I'm getting people coming to me about it. I know that buyblacks.com has had a lot of engagement about it, but I'd like to say thank you for the support and them allowing me to speak with Perry Douglas about that concern, those alleged concerns. And there's a lot of conversation, especially in the African Canadian community throughout, about that program. If you haven't caught it, I would say please check it out. And also, please read the article on buyblacks.com. Really great journalism. Great journalism. Whether you agree or not agree, the bottom line is really good journalism, and we like great journalism. At least we do here. All right. Cassandra said, what happened with the BBPA? Oh, you know what? I'm going to say go watch the conversation a week ago on my YouTube channel. I'll just say high level. There are allegations of mismanagement and misappropriation and misuse of funds of the $5 million they received from the federal government in regards to the Black ecosystem. That's all I'm going to say. Go to my YouTube channel after today, after today's show, because I want you to watch this live, but it's a lot of things going down with that. So, you know what? Anything happened, lots of people talking about it. If you haven't heard about it, please go and check it out. What we're going to do is we're going to go for a quick break, and then we're going to come back. Believe it or not, it is the first Friday of a new month, May already. And we have a regular tradition on the first Fridays of each month. Wayne Harris, financial educator, is going to come on. He's going to talk about different things like capital gains. I hope you're paying attention in Canada. The last federal budget, there's a whole new approach or whole new directions in regards to capital gain taxes. And I will talk to him. I was in a conversation, if you follow the show, about a week ago, and capital gains taxes was highly talked about. A lot of people had no understanding of it, not clear about it. A lot of people really don't even qualify it. Hey, Serena Wills, what is up from the DMV? Good to see you. Good. I know you'd be here. I had a feeling you'd be here because Wayne Harris is in the house. All right. So let's take a break. We're going to go for a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back and we'll get Wayne Harris to start rolling. So keep it locked for about 2 minutes.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harry Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harry Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Bob is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. As always, big shout out to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Appreciate them very, very much. All right. Let's get to it. First Friday of May 2024. And it is only proper that we have Mr. Wayne Harris with us. Good morning, Mr. Wayne Harris. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. And before we went live, I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but I do keep an alert on what Mr. Harris is posting on there. And I saw that his young son has hit a new golden barrier. So I congratulated him before we went live. So congratulations on the next step in your son's journey, young man.
Thank you. I think education is always a good thing, and education that is in alignment with what you do best, what you like, what pays well, and what's in demand. It's called ikigai. It's Japanese.
Yes.
And my son has found that for himself, and so has my daughter. And I found it too. And I think you found it too.
Yes, absolutely. Love that. Another word I'd say, alignment.
Yes.
Alignment. And also too, I see that you comment on a number of Dr. Boyce's posts.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in there. Dr. Boyce, sometimes he's on point and I'm directly, in alignment with what he's thinking. And other times he just comes at it, I think, more so to kick the hornet's nest to see what happens. So when I see him doing those things, like, okay, Dr. Boyce, I'm not on the same page with you, but what it does is generates a lot of dialogue and a lot of comments. So I know he's just kicking the hornet's nest for that reason. So good for him.
Absolutely. And we got good morning, Travel Jones. Hope all is fine with you. Yeah, Dr. Boyce. He is with gentlemen like yourself and him have really opened my eyes and my brain in regards to the importance of economics to our people. Right. He did a broadcast today saying, interesting, United States government just passed both parties, because very rarely that both parties agree on something, to don't give like over $100 billion to Poland, Israel, and Taiwan. And he said, would you ever think they give blacks reparations $100 billion? All these people they're giving money to, they can't vote in the American system, but here we are, African Americans, we would never get $100 billion from the American. They would never agree on that.
Even if they did agree on it, even if they gave everyone a check, their issue is very patriarchal. They almost want to give the money and dictate how the money is used. Whereas if you have full agency, what I do with the money is my business. If I want to go to Vegas and gamble it away, great. If I want to buy Mary Brown's chicken sandwiches with it, that's my business. If I want to buy rims for my car with it, if I want to invest it and buy a house, I can. But them being concerned about how the money is being spent or their perceived version of what they consider the majority of black people are going to do with the money is none of their business.
100%.
It's like 400 years of working for free.
Yep. 100%.
Was their business. So, reparations is a sticky thing. When someone says to me, Wayne, I want a discount, I say, which would you like me to reduce? The quality of the service or the amount of the service? You can get your discount. Happy to give it to you, but I'm going to do less for less. You're not going to get what I'm doing for less because I don't devalue my services. And I think that's the same thing with Black America. I think Black America could look for reparations, and they may come. In the meantime, take care of business for yourself. In the meantime, educate yourself the best you can. In the meantime, because of the democratization of information, YouTube being one of your platforms, if we were just to use YouTube and take 500 hours in any genre, I don't care what it is, it could be putting rockets in space, 500 hours, you're going to get a body of knowledge and then know where to close the gaps. So anyone today that is not making what they want to make, and anyone today who is not doing what they want to do, if they put 500 hours of focused study and take action on YouTube, just YouTube, forget about Google for a second, just YouTube, they should be able to put themselves in position to win. I know a guy who came from France, who all he did was watch YouTube videos on how to hang kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
Okay. 500 hours. So when he got here and was looking to get work, he walked into a construction site and they go, "What do you do?" He goes, "I hang cabinets." They go, "Show me." And with his 500 hours of YouTube, he went up there and hung those kitchen cabinets, and he's working in construction, making almost $100,000 a year. This is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So anybody who wants to do anything, within reason. Can you be a lawyer from YouTube? No. But can you understand law better than most people? Yes. So you might be able to get a job as a paralegal or start that journey to become a paralegal or legal assistant. Can you become a brain surgeon on YouTube? Probably not. But would you understand the medical things that surround that so you can go to a hospital and have credibility to get it on the ground floor and work your way through and then know what courses to take in school to close the gap of knowledge? I think that we have to be more proactive on our outcomes for ourselves versus being reactive to whether we're going to get reparations or not. Because you know what? You and I may not be here when reparations come. And if they do come, great for my kids who've never experienced slavery. Last I checked, there's none here in Mississauga. But they have been affected by it because the wealth that was generated by not being able to have land and not being able to have access to certain services put a wealth gap between white and black, at least in the United States, that is still there to this day.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, collectively, individually, we have to take care of our end before we look at any outside third party to take care of us. So if you're on your block, do your best to be the best for your family. Once you take care of yourself and your family, now you can go out and take care of the community. Once you take care of the community, start looking at the state. Once you start looking at the state, then you might want to look at who's running for president.
Right.
But you have to take care of your city council, your sheriff, your district attorney, and the local government that controls whether you get stopped at the traffic light and live or die. That government, you have to take care of first. Don't worry about who's the president of the United States or who the prime minister or candidate is. Who's your city councilor? And what is he doing for you and your family and your neighborhood to make it better? Back to you, Dr. Wright.
One other thing I'll ask you to give a comment on before we get into the topics you're going to share with our family today. Do you have anything you want to comment on in regards to the whole in the allegations of the BBPA and funds?
Yeah, I read the article, and I've talked to some of the board directors, present and past, and there are really two camps here. The camp of this is our dirty laundry, we should keep it hidden and in the dark and work it out silently, quietly within the community. That's one camp. And the other camp is blow it up, blow them up, and let's get started with doing things the right way. If people who are there cannot do it the right way, whether it's public or private, people just want it resolved. I come from the camp of, if I'm going to shoot my shot, right? If I'm going to take that shot, I better hit, right? I better hit. So I better be sure that 360-degree review of my information about what was going on that board, and the allegations are clear from Miller Thompson, the law firm. The allegations are clear from the daughter of Harry Jerome, that she wants to name off of the trophy and off the whole awards because of what's going on, the allegations. I'm thinking that the board, at this point, because there's this public backlash, the board is being very, very quiet and very, very measured with their response. And I think that is in alignment with what they're being told to do by their counsel. They're like, listen, this thing is now out there. You need to pause and make sure that you have your house in order. So when the board finally emerges from that silence, I'm expecting them to say, you are correct. We were wrong. This is what we did to fix it. We're out. Or you were correct. You were incorrect. This is why we're staying steady as she goes. I'm sipping my tea. I got my popcorn. I'm ready for the show. 2024. They'll let me know. I'm hoping the allegations are incorrect, because I don't want to see that stain on the organization that was founded by Denham Jolly, and it's venerable. I've been a member multiple times and stepped in and didn't like what I saw and stepped out. And I've done that many times over the last 25 years, where they're like, you should be part of it, and you could do this and you can do that, and can we not collaborate? And then I go and I do what they ask me to do, and they say they're going to pay, and they do not pay. And it just goes into a frustration loop where I say, what's the cost of what is happening here in terms of dollars to me? I've already lost money because I didn't get paid for what I did. And every time I follow up, I lose more money. And
time.
Yeah, and time. I think this is how they wear you down. And then you decide, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. God bless you. When they call me again, and there'll be a new board and a new person, and maybe someone I know from the past who will go in there and say they're going to change it. And they'll call me and say, can you do so-and-so? And just going forward, I'll just say no. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Do you. I'm good.
All right. Before we get into it, good morning, Opal Inspired. Please check out her artistic creations on her YouTube channel that is growing. Also, morning, Tim Frey. Good to see you back on the reg. Hope all is well with you and the family. All right. Little background on what we're going to be talking about today is a different subjects, but one in particular we're going to discuss in the front end. For those of you, I think I shared a little while back, actually a week ago, this past Thursday, I was invited by the Black Liberal Caucus, 3 members of the Black Liberal Caucus, to a post-budget conversation with media. It ended up being media and community partners, more community partners, and they were chatting about the budget, etc. And the first topic that came up in regards to the budget was this subject. And one person gave their interpretation about it, and then the one of the Liberal MPs, Ariel Cabral, went into a deep explanation, because it seems there's a lot of misunderstanding about capital gains taxes. So I asked Wayne early on this week, what do you want to talk about on Friday? And the first thing he said, he must have been reading my alleged mind, capital gains taxes. So, Mr. Harris, you're right on as usual. Talk to us about what are capital gains taxes, and especially for our African Canadian audience, what did you read in your understanding about how capital gains taxes are being applied going forward?
Okay, first of all, what is a capital gain? Simply put, capital gain is profit, right? Profit on the sale of an asset. Okay, so you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $11, you have a $10 capital gain. Okay, profit. Okay, fantastic. Now, there are other things you can do in accounting to reduce that with expenses and all that. We're not going to get into all that, but just holistically, it's profit on the buying and selling of an asset. And that's fantastic. Here's the good news. Many years ago, that used to be no tax. Many years ago. Now it's 50% tax. So what does that mean? If you buy a house for $100,000 and you sell that house for $1.1 million, you've incurred a $1 million capital gain. And that's great. You made money. Now the government says, thank you very much for making money in my jurisdiction. 50% of that money, $500K, is yours, free and clear. As Russell Peters would say, take it and go. Okay? $500,000. Great. The other $500,000 is taxable at 50%. Okay? So that 50% that's taxable is taxable at your marginal tax bracket. So the higher tax bracket you are, the more tax you're going to pay. So now the government's saying, that's great. The tax we were going to put on that was 50%. Now we're saying for anything above $250,000, right? So the first 250, 50-50. You get yours, we get ours, and ours comes at your marginal tax bracket. Cool. Now they're saying everything above 250, 66% of that is taxable at your marginal tax bracket. Oops. So now you're paying 16% more for the pleasure of making more money for every dollar above 250. Okay. So it's not as simple as you're paying 50%. It's 50% basically a marginal tax bracket on the half of the money that is yours. But now they're saying rather than 50%, after 250, 66%. Now this is only proposed. This is not in law yet. Supposed to come in June of 2024. We'll see. Here's what we do know. Everybody who has a secondary property, we have a lot of realtors who come on this show and a lot of mortgage brokers who come on this show. Shout out to the Godfather, Ray McMillan, and Ted Evans, who are two of the mortgage brokers. And I know Ray's son is also in the mortgage game and the real estate game. And they come on this show and they talk about real estate and having properties and all these different things. All of that's great. But if you're going to buy, if you have a property now that your parents have, and they've had it in the family for 40, 50 years, and they bought this thing up in Muskoka, Upper Rubber Boot, Ontario for 50 grand, and now it's worth $2 million. Uh-oh. Because now that secondary property, after June, if it passes, we're going to see what kind of backlash the government gets, but every penny now above 250 is now taxed at a higher margin. That means people who thought they had done their estate planning for the transition of their parents for the 50% tax are now looking at 16% more tax on that, which they may or may not have, which may spur people to sell that property now before June 2025, which means it could be a fire sale on secondary properties for people who just don't want to pay the extra 16%, assuming it's going to go through. I don't see why it wouldn't go through, because the NDP is propping up the Liberal government, and they're not going to go against what Justin is doing. And he wouldn't have put it out there if he thought they were going to go against it, because it would trigger an election. And nobody wants an election in 2024. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You can do your research, but from what I've been told, many people, there's about 30 to 35 MPs that will not hit their 6 years in office before October 2025.
And why is that 6 years significant?
That's a great question, Dr. Mike.
I know why, but keep on going.
Right. That 6 years is significant because it guarantees them a fully indexed to inflation pension for the rest of their lives. So if they do 5.5 years or 5 years, they do not get that pension. But if they do 6 and a day, that pension kicks in. So there's 30 of them up there in Parliament Hill running around doing things. Some of them are conservative, some of them are NDP, some of them are liberal. But Jagmeet needs to be in that seat till next year for him to get his. And for him to go out there and prop up Trudeau and take all these beatings and backlash and not get his pension, I don't see him toppling the government before he gets his 6 years. This is self-interest over the interests of the country.
Yep.
Again, do your research and check it out. But this is what I've seen out there in the information universe. So again, the capital gains tax for principal residence, that means the house you only own one. You sell that house, no taxes, free and clear to you. So you bought the house on the Danforth for $150,000 in the mid 90s. You fixed it up, you put another part on it, you did all the things you need to do, and you sell that sucker for over $1 million. No tax to you for the principal residence. But if you own 2 or more, every other property, you're going to pay that higher capital gain above a gain of $250,000 times every property you have. So people who have a portfolio, and there's a lot of people who do, who have 3, 4, 5, 10, 11 houses, buying them with family and friends, right? All those houses have that capital gain tax. And in Canada, it's not as easy to hide it from the government as it is in the United States. In the United States, you have the ability to have corporations own your property. You can do that here too. But Canada's laws, and again, I'm not an accountant, bring an accountant on here to talk about that. But I know that the way our trust system works is not the same as in the United States. The government can still get access to his taxes, even if you transfer the house to a trust. I see a lot of people trying to do that. So I'm going to sell the house to my trust, have everything in my trust name, because they're watching YouTube videos and IG reels talking about that. Boys and girls, that's the United States. That's not Canada. You know, again, another Russell Peters, somebody gonna get hurt real bad. All right. So don't play. Make sure you know the jurisdiction of the information you're getting on social media. But this capital gains thing is I can see Trudeau saying, listen, you're rich. If you have 2 properties, you're rich. And some would agree with him before interest rates were what they are, before renters would stop paying. Imagine if you have a condo, and you live in one and you rent the other one, and the tenant decides they don't want to pay. And they haven't paid for a year or more. You're paying 2 mortgages. Then you finally get them out and you sell after June 25th. And you take a 16% hit and you didn't get any of that rent. Come on, bro. Come on. So you're taking L's all over the place, right? Now, again, the accountant will say maybe it's a loss because you didn't get the rent in, so you can put that against the profit and you can do some things. And I'm sure that's the case with the accounting. But still, the present government is making it very, very difficult for people to win big. You can win incrementally, but to win big, they're making it very, very tough. And I think that's going to slow down the economy more than already is slowing down, because people are going to just get disheartened that there's no place to hide. There's no place to hide your money. There's no place to hide legally. There's no place to hide. There's no place to hide your money. And the mechanism that you have to make money, those are also being touched. And again, I think the government of Canada, holistically wants Canadians to win. But also, if Canadians are at the highest debt levels they've been in the history of the country, for every dollar that a Canadian earns, $1.82 goes out in servicing debt. The banks announce that they make their money on the differential between the interest they pay you and the interest they get in credit cards. So you have a savings account with the Green Bank. The savings account with the Green Bank is going to pay you 0.5%, right? 0.5. Yeah. Checking account you have with a bank, which you have to have a minimum balance of $5,000 to get no fees. So you got $5,000 of dead money in there every year to save on fees. Those fees and the differential between the 0.5% and the 19.9 or 21.9 you're paying on the credit card, that's what's making the banks.
The spread
is making them the most money. So when I talk to people, I go, "You're doing partner SUSU meeting?" Yeah. I'm doing that because I don't trust the banks. So rather than getting 0.5 on your money, guaranteed by Canadian Deposit Insurance Corporation up to $100,000, you're getting 0 on your money, guaranteed by no one. And they're okay with that. Because they know the banker.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I understand partner SUSU meeting is something that's traditional for us and for other cultures in order for you to win. There are other cultures that don't do susu at $100 or $200. They do susu at $10,000 and $25,000. And every time someone gets a hand, they open up a business. Okay, and they create jobs. Right. Most of the time, when my father and mother used to do it, it was to send money back home to their siblings and parents in the Caribbean. And I get it. Right. It was forced savings. It was discipline. And they had heard the stories of somebody putting the money in the bank and asking for it and couldn't get it out. And they said, that'll never happen to me. So I'm going to trust Bob, the mechanic, who's the banker for the susu. And the 15 of us are going to work that. And I'm going to put in two hands so I can send a barrel and pay for my ticket to go back to Barbados every year. And it worked like a charm. But those people who were doing that were in their 30s and 40s. Now they might be in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. Red alert. Red alert. Because if the banker has that money and the banker passes away, how do you get your money? And who can you complain to? You can't tell the police he stole my money. The police said, what you're saying is you had your money outside of a bank with an individual who is not insured and not a legal bank. Yeah. You gave them the money every week and they stole the money. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can't help you.
That's out of their jurisdiction.
Right? You were doing something wrong.
You're doing something. Yeah, you're doing something privately. That's the thing. Let's get back and thank you for the breakdown. So the capital gains, do you feel that the proposed legislation is a good thing overall for then Canada?
Anytime there's more tax, I'm not for it. Now, okay. When I was in school, I was like, keep tuition low, because I was in school, self-serving. When I was making, I wasn't making six figures. I'm like, I need more money, pay more, salaries need to go higher, because I wanted to make more money. And now I'm where I'm at. I'm like, keep taxes low. It's always self-serving, different life stages.
Sure.
I would love to know what that extra 16%, where it's going to be allocated. What's he doing? If he's going to take that money and pack it into a plane and give it to other foreign countries, I'm not for the tax. If he's going to take that money and he's going to give us better schools, better technology, better infrastructure, programs to help small businesses get grants rather than loans, because, to Perry's point last week, when you get VC money, it's not a loan. You put that money to work, and you can always see on Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, people would much rather equity than getting a loan, because a loan is a burden that I have to come back and pay. Mm-hmm. Now, it might be cheaper money initially, and you're not giving up a part of your company, but I don't have to pay back VC money. So someone gives me $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, I've got $10 million. You have a piece of my company. Now our job is to grow so that piece becomes a smaller piece of a larger pie.
Right.
Right. But when we're financing things through loans, that just adds another expense on my sheet, and I'm already tight.
Yeah, financial and emotional burden.
Right. So for me, I really would love this government to say, I understand why this tax is coming in. I understand what they want to do with the money. I can understand the allocations. I don't know if they're doing enough of the right things with what they're already being taxed. Because last I checked, gas went up 20 cents a liter. Jeez. Just the other day, gas went up 20 cents a liter. So if gas is going up 20 cents a liter, and you're going to add this tax in June, and you're giving away money to foreign, again, I understand why you give money to foreign governments. It's the right thing to do, G7, G20, all those things. And again, when I give you money, when it comes time for you to get contracts to build something that Canadians do really, really well, you'll remember the fact that we gave you that money, you give us a contract, I get a quid pro quo. I get it. But holy smokes, after 3 years of COVID, and now some of the highest interest rates that we've seen in 25 years
that are not going to go down in the near future, probably.
Well, this is the challenge. 60%. I confirmed this with Ted, and I'm sure the Godfather Ray will attest. 60% of all those mortgages that were at 1.5 to 2.5 to 3%, they're all coming due in the next 6 to 12 months. So people who are paying mortgages at 2.5% are going to come out into a market where they're paying mortgages at 5 and 6%.
Yep.
So now they have a problem because now their mortgage just doubled. And last I checked, no one's giving double your salary raises at your job.
100%. Well, you know, and even that, and I don't know if people really realize, I think people are beginning to understand when the gas price goes up, everything goes up. It's
Correct.
not just for the pump, because as I say to people, how do you think things get to your local grocery store? They don't fly them in. Trucks have to take them in.
And trains.
And trains. Right?
That's all diesel. That's all diesel.
Exactly. And that price is going up. Lots of people are joining in, so I just want to catch up. Let's say Del Miller. Man, Mr. Miller, I have not seen you in a minute. I would love to see you. But he says, this is fantastic education. Thank you so much. Someone you may know named Heather Harris. Great morning, gentlemen. This is critical information. You can be, quote, rich, unquote, but not wealthy under capitalism. That's for the few, not the many. People were getting too happy. Also says it's a reordering of society, happens more frequently than in the past. And Fitness IQ Cam says, morning, gentlemen. It isn't on our agenda to chat about, but Tim Frey says, Wayne, can you let our people know about setting up a family trust to protect assets being passed down after death? Do you want to tackle that today or in a separate conversation?
Yeah, this is a conversation that Tim and I had online over the last couple of weeks, as he has some things going on to set that up. And I said, listen, if you have the blueprint on how to do this, this is something that I'm interested in learning about. Trusts in Canada, as they are in the United States, are run through lawyers. So I'm not a lawyer. So there are many, many different types of trusts, and having the assets in the trust versus having the assets in the hands of the individuals will give you some benefits, but there's some costs to make that happen. When you change title and you change people on title, there are other things that can be triggered. I just saw a bill for someone trying to do that by adding their kids to their parents' house. And with the lawyer fees and everything, with the will, living wills, and power of attorneys, and the trust being involved, is over $10,000 to get that done. And they were like, "Can I get this done for less money?" Probably, but if you want to do a trust in Canada, what type of trust, and what is your goal with the trust? If it's to avoid taxes, you might be severely disappointed. But if you want to do a trust because you're not having to change names on the title, because now the trust owns the property. When a baby is born, you just add the baby to the trust. When a grandparent dies, you take the grandparent's name off the trust, and the trust holds on to the asset, all right, holistically. It can be a good move. You just need to have enough assets to make it worth your while. So if you're doing it for one house, I don't know if I would do that, but if I have multiple properties and businesses, and I've got my kids, and my wife comes with kids as well, we got blended families, we got a lot going on, maybe a trust might make sense to make sure everybody gets their end and reduces maybe contestability because a lawyer has put it in place. So if you're going to exclude anybody from the trust, they're going to contest. If you're going to include anybody who's not supposed to be in there, according to the other people who are part of the trust, they're going to contest. So you're reducing or increasing contestability by what you do in the trust with all the different flavors of trust. And that's definitely something for a lawyer to come on here and talk about. What I notice is most lawyers don't want to talk about that for free. They like the smoke and mirrors of the lack of understanding of the family trust. But Tim Frey seems to have a good handle on it, and he might be willing to come on and talk about what he did in his personal situation for his trust. So happy to have that conversation with Tim, or watch Tim do it.
All right. And Tim says, yes, set up a family trust in the Caribbean island like Barbados. And also, Delmir says, love you too. Right back, Tim. Time to catch up. Absolutely. Heather Harris says, beyond a trust, what else can be done to protect assets?
Well, Dr. Vibe, that's a good question. And my big sister might be leading the jury here. but for the everyman, if I know that I have an exposure, excuse me, to capital gains in the future, I don't know what that gain is going to be. One of the least expensive things I can do is put together a insurance policy, because the insurance policy is going to pay out upon my demise, and it's going to pay out tax-free to the named beneficiaries. As of today, the government of Canada has not come for insurance. It came for insurance in 2017 when you could put unlimited amounts into an insurance policy, and they stopped the unlimited amounts and put a cap on it. Because up until 2017, you could have a small policy, you could dump $1 million into it, and then you could borrow against that $1 million tax-free almost immediately, 3 days later, because you would be using money from the proceeds of a loan, not income. So you take your income, throw it into an insurance policy, and then borrow against a policy, and now the money you have looks exactly the same as the money that went in, but the money you have in your hand is now a loan, not income, and all loans are tax-free. Use that money for your entire life. Pay it back to the insurance policy if you want, but you don't have to. And this is where the infinite banking concept comes up, where you borrow from your own policy, because the compounding of the money in the policy, the money's still in the policy, so you're not taking any money out, so the compounding doesn't stop. You're just borrowing against it. So what happens is the lending institution is in first position for what you borrowed. So let's say there's $1 million death benefit and $500,000 of cash value in the policy. Okay, if that person were to pass away, they would get $1 million tax-free death benefit plus $500,000 cash value. If they died, $1.5 million tax-free to whoever's name is the beneficiary. What you can do is take the $500,000 cash value. 90% of that can be borrowed against if it's a whole life policy. 80% of it can be borrowed against if it's a universal life policy. Borrow that money and use it for whatever you want. You could even be homeless and borrow that money. You don't have to have any proof of income to get that money, because the policy is the collateral. And go do and live your best life. And you can get that lump sum, or you can get that monthly like a pension. So now, a lot of people are concerned that they have, in Canada, we have Canada Pension Plan and Old Age Security. In the United States, you have Social Security. If you make too much money in your retirement years in Canada, they'll start clawing back those benefits. You could pay into them for 40 years, and because you made too much money, they'll claw back and you will kill your OAS. But if you have an insurance policy that's fat with cash, you can borrow from the policy every month and supplement your income and not affect your CPP and your OAS.
That's game. That's game there.
That's game. So when should you get an insurance policy? 15 days after you're born is the best time. The next best time is right now. Yes, there's interest on the loan. The loan, depending on the institution, could be whatever the rates are at the time, but because they know the policy is bulletproof. Why? Because they've replaced your beneficiary's name for that cash with their name. So they're not trying to kill you with interest, maybe 6% on the loan, somewhere around there. But again, if you take that money at 6% and you invest it in something like mortgages, right, Ray? Private mortgages, in second position, second or third mortgages, depending on the risk, depending on the property, depending on the situation, you're now looking at 12, 13, 14% on your money. So you're borrowing at 6, you're making 14, and now because you've invested, the 6% is tax deductible. Let's go. Come on.
All right. Heather, Big Sister says, is there interest on the loan? So I think you answered that question in your sharing there, correct? All right. And you know what? Ray is here saying, good morning. Trusts are a great conversation piece, but are specific to individuals, their needs and net worth. He also says life insurance is the fastest and easy way to create intergenerational wealth. Yet most folks are underinsured or have no insurance. How do we change that? It also solves the issue of capital gains.
Which is what I just said, Ray. Thank you very much. So if you can get an insurance policy at a at a fair price. So again, as a broker, I have access to many different companies, and some companies are better than others for certain things. If you're in perfect health, some companies give you a great price. But if you have anything wrong with you, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetic or diabetic, they don't want anything to do with you. Some companies are designed, if you have sickle cell, lupus, fibromyalgia, and other things, they're happy to take your policy at a fair price. Depends on where you are. But if I had known this when my kids were born, man, oh man, there'd be a war chest of cash. These kids are in their early and mid 20s now. There'd be a war chest of cash that I would have total control over as the owner of the policy. They're the insured. I'm the beneficiary with my wife. Now, sometimes you date knuckleheads, right? So maybe my son and daughter are dating people and the people are not the greatest. So I will continue holding on to the policy. But the day I'm straightening my son's bow tie on his wedding day, and the day my wife is fixing the veil for my daughter for her wedding day, we're going to hand them a document. They're going to say, "What's this, Dad?" I said, "This is a fully paid off cash value life insurance policy. Mommy and I took 20 G's out because we're going to Ghana." Right? Thanks. We paid it off. There's no more premiums for you to pay. It is continue to roll for the rest of your life. And if you pass away at 120 years old, this policy will pay out 100% at 120 years old, up to and including suicide. Here's your wedding gift. It's not a toaster. It's not $1,000. It's not just paying for the wedding. It's a fully paid for, fully funded whole life policy with a death benefit and cash value, and they can use whatever money that's still in the cash value that I didn't use. I only used 20 grand. All the rest is available to them, up to 90%. Best gift you could give a child.
Yeah.
Anybody out there who talks to me about, I'm going to do the registered education savings plan. I get it, right? Because university is still a thing for now. But like I said, YouTube is coming, AI is coming, and university is going to have a hard time justifying $100,000 for 4 years to teach me information from pre-COVID times. It's going to be tough for them to justify themselves. Again, and now employers, Microsoft, IBM, Dell, the government of Canada, most of the major banks are saying university degree not required. Universities are looking at, if they don't get the funding from our government to stay open, they don't have enough money. And when the foreign students were the ones propping up their coffers, because foreign students pay a massive amount of money to go to school.
We don't even want to go there. We don't even want to go there.
I'm going to go there because these guys are the ones propping up bad behavior. Your university and college should be able to run profitably with domestic students only. But they can't, because the sweet siren song of foreign students paying 10x what a domestic student would pay are taking the spots that would normally go to Canadians because they're so profitable. So what's happening? Well, Trudeau has turned the tap off on one country, India. He said a little thing about a little thing, and the Prime Minister of India is like, "Listen, I don't like what you're saying over there. We're going to stop dealing with you guys." The world's most populous country on the planet is not a fan of Canada at this time because of our Prime Minister and the things he said publicly about Indians on Canadian soil. So all those droves, 1 million people coming in every year, mostly 57% of them from India, those planes aren't landing anymore. What's college A, B, and C, who are in places that you and I would never go to, that's full with foreign students? What are they going to do to pay those bills? They just built a bunch of dorms and built a bunch of facilities for all these people. They thought the gravy train was going to continue to run, and the gravy train has stopped. Now they have a problem. So we're going to see how this works out. Go ahead.
No problem. Like the whole thing about how much international students are charged, I don't even want to go there, because I know in the past I also, in the States it costs so much just to be out of state.
Yes.
It's crazy here
Yeah.
in Canada. And again, in the United States, you hear about college debt. Well, it exists here too, but we're not hearing it as much. But it exists here also, big time. All right. Serena says, I hear that, Wayne, quote, we are going to Ghana, unquote. Serena also says, there are so many people who think that that life insurance they get through their job is theirs. Unless they own that policy, if they get let go or leave, the policy goes away.
Facts on facts. So imagine you come into a company at 25. You work there until you're 65. And at 65, they say, thank you for the memories. Here's your gold watch. Bye-bye. Now you have no life insurance.
Wow.
You're 65 years old. Now you're going to go buy it at 65. You think it's going to be a little more expensive than when you were 25? You think you may have some pre-existing conditions that you didn't have when you were 25? Right. So I want you to think about an ice cream sundae. Ice cream sundae has a cherry on top. The bananas, the ice cream, and the whipped cream, and any sprinkles you put on that, this is your personal life insurance. The cherry on top is your work life insurance. We don't go out there buying cherries. You should be out there buying banana splits. And if you're working, add the cherry on top. So you make $100,000, your company's going to give you $200,000 if you die. But if you die at 85 or 90, and you stop working at 65, you get $0. If you do not get insurance when you're in the health you are today, and your health declines in the future, your costs are going to be more expensive because of age and because of health. And because of gender. Men are more expensive than women because women live longer than men in general.
Wow. All right. Good morning, Dr. Tachi from Fort Lauderdale, the driving force behind Indie Soup Media, and she's back on with Mediascope, which is wonderful. Wednesdays, 5 p.m. on Instagram, 6 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and other properties. So good to hear. Good to hear. JJ Mars says some companies allow former employees to purchase their insurance when they leave, but there are some catches to it.
So some of the catches are this. If you work for a company, you make $100,000 and you leave the company, you are part of a group insurance policy. The group insurance policy, let's say you work for one of the banks, and the bank has 100,000 employees, you're getting the group rate. When you come out as an individual, you do not get the group rate. You get your rate at your age at that time. So there's one catch. Usually those policies are term policies. So if you're working with a company that one of the bigger companies is doing the benefits, you might be able to convert that term policy to a permanent policy without doing any underwriting. And underwriting meaning blood, urine, blood pressure, paramedical, all that good stuff. They may say, we'll waive that because you have a body of work and you're part of the group plan. So we're going to waive those things for you. So in your favor, if you can port it to yourself, you might be able to get it at a without medical underwriting, which is a big deal because you might be terminal. You could be terminal and you can say, nah, I'm out from work. I want that policy, and they will give you that $100,000 or $200,000 even if you're terminal because there's no underwriting. So you might win. But why take that chance? Why not get insurance as young as humanly possible for as much as humanly possible that fits within your budget, knowing that day is going to come. Death is like Floyd Mayweather, undefeated. There's only one guy who defeated it, and that was 2024 years ago. One. So I want you to understand, since we're not him, we should have life insurance to make sure that all the things that could cause us pain, like probate tax, 1.5% on estates over $50,000. There's going to be estate taxes. You got to pay your income taxes. There are going to be creditors that are going to say, we want our money before your family gets their money, and they're going to insert themselves into that very public estate. So there's a lot of things that you need to consider. Understand that Bob Marley's estate still hasn't settled. He died in the 80s. Aretha Franklin hasn't settled. Prince hasn't settled. Twitch hasn't settled. Chadwick Boseman hasn't settled. These are all multimillionaires who don't have their house in order. And when I go out into the community, 80% of the people I talk to don't have it. I talked to a gentleman yesterday. He spends $900 a month in takeout.
How much?
$30 a day. $900 a month in oxtail, roti, rice and peas, stewed chicken, breakfast, Tim Hortons. $900.
How old is he?
75. Three packs of cigarettes a week. 29% interest on his vehicle that he bought 4 years old. 29% on a store brand credit card. 19.9% on the other credit card, which is maxed out. And he was referred to me to say, can I help him? I can help him. How about you eat at home? $900. How about you take a nicotine patch and save $60 a week in cigarettes? Bro, I'm out there in these streets, and I'm here. Listen, I've heard it all, Dr. Vibe. I've heard it all. But this one here, this is yesterday. Okay?
How is he still alive?
He's a pleasant man. Very, very happy guy from the islands. But I said the math isn't mathing. I was doing the math. But you think about it. You go for breakfast before 7 o'clock. You'll get 2 eggs, toast, and a piece of bacon and a coffee. $6.99. Okay, plus tax $8, plus tip $10. Then you go to lunch, and you go to wherever you go, and they have the lunch special. Another $6.99. No tip because you're gonna take it takeout. $8. That's $18. Then you go for dinner, and you buy yourself a large roti. $14. There's your $30. Nice and easy. I said, that's a lot of salt, my friend. He goes, it is what it is. But I said, do you have any savings? None.
I'm not laughing at him or laughing at the situation.
Do you have RSP? No, none. Do you have TFSA? None. Do you have insurance? I do. Permanent policy through my former employer for $50,000. I said, great. I said, do you have a will, living will, and power of attorney? He goes, no. I said, do you have children and grandchildren? He goes, yes, in 2 countries. There will be nothing left for them.
No, there won't be.
$1,000 a month in cigarettes and takeout. In the most expensive Toronto has been ever. This is what's going on out there.
Let's move on, please. I don't.
Go ahead.
I just. Dr. Tachi says, "Wow." She also says $900 a month in takeout food. Serena goes, I'm just like shocked. $900. JG Mars, that's called wasteful consumption. Dr. Tachi, cigarettes, people still smoke? Yes, people still smoke, believe it or not. Like, people do still smoke. Serena goes, sheesh. JJ Mars, daily Starbucks maybe $10 for a small coffee.
Yeah.
Serena goes, unfortunately, people do still smoke. Fitness IQ Cam, absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Plus, I forgot to say, Dr. Vibe, he buys groceries, about $250 in groceries, and he does weed, and he's upside down. And oh, by the way, and he didn't pay his taxes, so he's being garnished.
Where does he get his income from?
Pension from his former employer, CPP, and OAS. The math isn't mathing, Dr. Vibe. He's got to be upside down 2 G's a month.
Dr. Ty says you're better off buying an espresso machine or Keurig machine and doing your own fancy coffee at home. Facts.
And go get the little pods from Costco.
Yeah. Wow. Well, okay.
This is what's going on out there, Dr. Vibe.
Just before we go on, it's when you said about the insurance thing, it's another thing. Like, I do listen to Dr. Boyce a lot. He says, if you are young and you have a family, once your child is born, put $5 a day in the stock market. So when they come big of age and they're working at a job that they don't like, you say, here's a gift to you. You don't have to take the anti-racism in the workplace, the bullying, all that. This is my gift to you. Done. That example is wow. Heather says it may be a stress response. He may benefit from holistic approach to better living. Dell says, interestingly, this is not uncommon. Who among us follow a disciplined monthly budget?
Those of us who have Trinidadian wives like mine. Can't lie, Dr. Vibe. Can't lie. Heavy manners.
Of the week on the Dr.
Heavy
Vibe.
manners.
Fitness IQ camps. However, you think the mind is a powerful thing. Sometimes the stomach controls your pockets. Oh boy. Ray says, Wayne, that is more common than you could imagine. We have clients who bought homes for $250K in the early 2000s who now owe $800K against them. And that is possibly 50 to 75% of the mortgages we have done. Wow.
To raise point.
Wow. I need to just, people, if you're watching this live on the replay, I'm going to read it again if we ever put this out on audio. Wayne, Ray McMillan, who has been doing mortgages privately since 1999. So this is reality. You're getting reality in comments and on your screen here. Wayne, that is more common than you can imagine. We have clients who bought homes for $250K in the early 2000s, now own $800K against them. And that is possibly 50 to 75% of the mortgages we have done. Wow. That's a screenshot right there. That tells you what it's like out there, family. Let's hold on. Serena says, gotta hop to me. Thank you, Wayne. Great as always. Great confident. Yeah, watch the replay. Roland Lowe says, people are in shock, but these are your friends, family, kids, neighbors, co-workers, and family. Finally, the man in the mirror. Wow. Ray says, great point. Well said in jest, a good wife is the key to build. Yeah. Look, I say it in the people who look like us, our greatest area of wealth is our family. And not just financial. You're great, because I'm sure everyone who's live or on replay and the two guys in the screen, we know enough families that look like us that people say, me don't like me brother, me don't trust me brother, me don't trust me sister. We just that. The family is the foundation for Black future. If the family's a mess, money's a mess, a whole lot of things. When I see someone that's going through challenging times or, quote, a little bit messed up, I say, okay, what's their family structure? I always look at the family structure first. That's all I'm going to say. Wayne, anything you want to add to the comments that have been said here? Like, wow.
Yes, Ray's point is potent and poignant, because when money was cheap, HGTV was designed during when money was cheap, and houses were cheap.
Good point.
HGTV there is the crack cocaine of the low interest rate. So you can go to Home Depot and Rona and Lowe's, and their stocks were going to the moon because people had cheap money to go out and, let's do our backyard. What's your budget? I got $150,000 to do my backyard. Okay, I'm gonna make it an oasis. Right? We got $250,000 to gut the first floor, add a room, fix all the bedrooms and all the bathrooms, and finish the basement. And the Property Brothers and everybody else, Homes on Homes, and all these guys made millions of dollars.
Still are.
Because it was cheap money. Now, my friend, it's bare crickets out there. Crickets, because now money costs money. And people are like, is this, even if I did this renovation, my house is going backwards in value. So why would I do it? Just the other day, there was a guy bought a house in Burlington for $2.2 million. In 2021, tried to sell it for $3.3 million. sat on the market for 200 days. No one was taking it at 3.3. Nice part of Burlington. Older house, side split, beautiful house. Older, maybe mid-century. This guy sold the house for $1.5 million.
Wow.
He bought it for 2.2. You know why? The water level is rising. It's called the interest rates. And you couldn't control that mortgage. You had to take a $700,000 haircut or lose it all. I don't know. I probably lose it all, right? But pride, you're $700,000 underwater. How does that make sense? And it's happening over and over. Last point. 45,000 realtors in Ontario said deuces to the real estate industry. 45,000.
Wow.
Ouch. Why? Because when times, and Ray and I are old enough to know good times and bad times in the game. When there are bad times, the ones who are just playing with their industry, they got to go. Mans are getting hurt out there because they are not super strong at what they do. And they can't weather the storm because they were living too close. I say people are living Grandmaster Flash, Dr. Vibe. I've said it before. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. People are living Grandmaster Flash out there and they're getting hurt.
No, like there's a house in the neighborhood that I guess this guy owned. He had renters. The renters weren't good. Got rid of them. I saw, like, he's been fixing it for the last at least 3 to 4 months.
Yep.
New roof, gutted the inside. They're still doing stuff. I was wondering this. I heard bang outside. I hope people don't hear it during the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, what is he planning to do this? Because the amount of, well, I don't know how much money he's spending, but it's a lot. I go, how are you going to recoup this? How are you going to recoup this? Like, exactly. And the funny thing is, he lives in the neighborhood, so he owns this house. I'm going, how are you going to recoup this? I didn't ask him. I just going, every day that I see people working on, I say, you got to recoup more. You got to recoup more. You got to recoup more.
Maybe if I'm him, Dr. Vibe, I'm gonna gourmet. I'm gonna move into it.
But he's already living in the house just the next block over.
Listen to the move, Dr. Vibe. Listen to the move.
Yeah.
I'm living in my other house. I gourmet this one. Pot lights, new roof, this, that, everything. Yeah. I move into my place. I stay in there 2 years. Government may have changed over. Interest rates have settled down. The market has come back. Now I sell. I'm selling it as my principal residence.
Okay.
No tax. Then I sell that and I go over back to where I was living before. And I go live in there for 2 years. Then I sell that. No capital gains, no tax, principal residence. And I rent in Canada and I buy in Jamaica. And I leave this house, this place as a non-resident. Deuces, I'm out. And I take my money with me.
There you go.
Okay, so there are moves you can make.
Yeah,
I'm sure Ray's doing those things in the Caribbean and other places.
That's why we have you here to those moves, those game moves. Heather says, teach financial literacy to every member of your family, 100%. Ray says most people spend on average 10 to 15% more than they earn annually. They are collecting net income but spending based on their gross. I have tried to educate. It's painful to watch it play out. Also, he says, Ray, got to get. I like to get Ray and you on together, and I would just get up and leave. I just get up and leave. No, I would get up and leave. I may just
bring me in on a Monday or bring him in on a Friday.
Yeah, he says, Ray, 4 recessions, Wayne. I have the battle scars to show it. Sure, you do too.
Facts.
Like, how many people watching live or on the replay? How many people would like to have Ray and Wayne together for a session? Are you ready for it? That's what I'm going to ask you, though, because it's not going to be light. Are you ready for it? Right? Ray says, you are sharing my secrets, Wayne. It is easy to navigate the system once you understand the system. Education.
Listen,
Education.
we are all in the martial art of finances. Ray McMillan is a black belt in mortgages. I'm a black belt in financial planning. You're a black belt in media. So we're all bringing our black belts to bear, but we're all fighting different styles, Dr. Vibe. So now what we need to do is we need to put our styles together so we can go out.
You know what? You just gave me an idea. When we should have black belt conversations. There we go. There you go. There you go.
Let's go.
There we go. Black belt conversation. We bring you guys on and you just let, because everyone, we got to talk about this on there. This is really good because we bring in different people who know their stuff in different, and we just talk together because we can all intermingle, etc. I like that idea. I have put that down. Black belt conversations. Bam. I love this. Tim Frey says this. We often dwell on the idea of saving and budgeting for retirement, a system crafted by families like the Rockefellers and Rothschilds who have shaped the very framework within which we toil as workers in their global enterprises. And that's, now that's heard something to extend. The Rockefellers formed the system for employees.
Correct.
Right.
And the education system.
Yeah. Our parents and grandparents bought into this notion of working tirelessly until retirement, while these families themselves, along with their descendants, he's gone in, never truly retire. They enjoy freedom in days, weeks, and months, and even years because they understand the importance of asset ownership and entrepreneurship. Look at this. Raise in. Love it. Trademark that. Black belt conversations. I'm talking to you. It's in my notes. Black belt conversation. Dr. Taji says, I love the idea of black belt. And the family is, we had two more subjects we wanted to chat about. It ain't happening. It ain't. We'll save it to something else. But this is absolute goal. Yeah. What I like, and again, a lot of people don't pay attention, but yesterday, what's the guy, Powell in the U.S., who's head of the U.S. Fed, saying they don't know if interest rates are going to go down this year. Earlier on this year, they say, we're going to reduce the interest rate 4 or 5 times this year. Now, I know Canada's different in some ways, but Canada looks to what's going on in the U.S. too.
Right. What's happening now is Canada has to decide which lump it wants to take. The lump of people forfeiting on their mortgages because the interest rates went up too high, and they have to fire sale on all the properties that are out there. They're going to get less for their properties because they can't afford to pay the mortgages on the properties they have. And they're renewing in nuclear winter from a mortgage perspective. So there's one. 2, if he lowers the rates, people who are not smart are going to come back into the market thinking that rates are going to go down, cause the same foolishness all over again. So the Ray can speak to this more than I do, but I have a feeling that they want to, but we're going to see how it goes between now and September before they even think about lowering the rates, because people go crazy. As soon as the rates go down, people who are dummies jump into the market and they're not supposed to.
Yeah. It just, do people learn? Right. Like one of my mentors a long time said, people do things like that because it doesn't hurt enough.
Correct.
It doesn't hurt enough. Roland says, put together the show, but put up the plastic because it's gonna get bloody.
Jokes.
But family, okay, I'm gonna start working on this because I'm gonna reach out to Ray today over the weekend and say, look, Ray's time is not what he used to say. Ray, what are you doing the first Friday of next month? We want to have a black belts. I love that idea. Like, we got to trade, and we can just bring in different people and just chop it up and do the thing. But from what you're saying, though, Wayne, things aren't getting better, are they?
Depends on where you are.
Exactly. Right? Sorry.
So all the big boys and girls who have money, have sold everything they have and are waiting, cash rich, to come back in at a discount. So the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Bezos of the world, the Elons of the world, they have divested of the market and are waiting for their opportunity to come back in at a fire sale price.
Buy low, buy low.
Buy low, sell high. So he sold high, took his profits, and now he's waiting with his cash to buy in low. And we're going to see what happens, because we have an election in the United States and we will have an election in Canada next year. When those two things happen, I am assuming it's going to be a sea of blue in the United States, Republican, and a sea of blue in Canada, conservative. We got a 50-50 shot, right, up here, and there's only a 50-50 shot down there. Biden could pull it out and stay in, right? Trump could have whatever happens to him with a court case and he can't be the candidate. But I have a feeling it's going to be Republican 24-25. I don't know. We'll see, because they have a whole bunch of campaigning to do over the summer, and anything can happen, including with the courts and Trump. So we'll see. But trust me when I tell you, any debt that you have that is not required, i.e. your mortgage, everything else should be paid off.
Yeah.
Pay everything off. All consumer debt, get rid of it. You got a credit card balance, get rid of it. Get rid of all consumer debt. You have a car payment and the car is too bougie, get rid of the car and get a car that is reliable, that's less expensive, that has no cost to you on a monthly basis. Car should be paid off. House, if you can pay it off, great. If you can't pay it off, that's the only debt you should have on the books.
So Macmillan Group says, I don't see mortgage rates leveling out any lower than mid 4%. Your analysis is accurate, Wayne. Cheap money brings out the financially unsavvy.
Yes. Yes. So I see people and they have a 2.69 rate. Yeah. They want me to do all this stuff with them. I said, when is that 2.69 coming to an end? Because I see their cash flow. Yeah. They got $4,000 available. No, as a financial advisor, I'm like, great, I got $4,000 to work with and all that, because all bills are paid. They got No. Listen, 5% is coming. Like winter, like Game of Thrones, winter is coming, 5% is coming. So I need to plan, work backwards and say, yes, you have a lot of cash flow, and yes, your interest rate is low today, but it will not be low 6 months from now, 8 months from now. I got to plan for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything I put in place, you're going to undo when you get the lick of that high interest rate.
Yeah, I don't see interest rates coming back to where they were. Yeah, they're not. It's just not the way, right? Because, yeah, like again, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. They may come down a little bit. They're not going to come back to like 2020 levels anymore. That's not going to happen. Well, I highly doubt it's going to happen.
We're building a lot of condos. We got backyard houses. Housing starts are high. The government takes so much money from the developers. 60% of what the cost is to get a shovel in the ground goes to the government. It's insane, right? I don't know. The cities that the houses are going into, they should win. The city should get something because they got to pay for services, fire, police, ambulance, hospitals. I get it. The city. The province should get some money because the house is in their province. The federal government, I don't know. I don't think they should be making a whole lot of money on developer fees for municipalities being built. The municipality and the province should be getting the majority of that money.
Well, we'll exit on this point. If you had a chance to be sitting across from the prime minister of this country, what would you tell him in regards to economics?
I wouldn't tell him anything. I would ask him a question. What's the end game? What is it you're trying to accomplish? What's your legacy going to be when it's all over for you? And it's going to be all over very soon. What is your legacy going to be? He's going to say a bunch of things. This is what I did or didn't do for the indigenous. This is what I did and didn't do for gender rights. This is what I did and didn't do for healthcare. This is what I did and didn't do for education. This is what I did and didn't do for foreign policy. He's going to come with a lot of different things because I see what affects me. He sees everything. So in fairness to him, he's dealing with domestic agenda, foreign agenda, provincial agendas, and trying to stay in power all at the same time. So he's got a lot on his plate. But I want to know, what is your end game? So there's going to be a mandate. He has his budget now. When the elections come up next year, we're going to look at his body of work since he's been in power since 2015. Since Stephen Harper left and this guy's come in, where are we at? Are we better than we are? Or are we worse than we are? And if we're better, explain to me how we're better. And if we're worse, explain to me how we're worse. I'm asking questions. I'm not telling him anything. Because I want to seek first to understand before you be understood. So I want to understand where he's coming from and why his cabinet and his caucus and his advisors feel that this liberal policy that we're dealing with right now, it makes the most sense for Canadians.
Okay. All right. Mr. Harris, we went off script and it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Why even bother with the script?
Yeah, exactly. And plus with the morning Joe family, they drive the conversation. So you know what? It's called being flexible and being good. Well, look, my brother, thank you as always for taking time from yourself and your family and the people you serve, especially the $900 a month eaters and smokers. You should do it like even an IG live, just even a recorded video, and just share that with people, because you'll get this from this conversation. I'm sure I'll see if I can create that, but that is 75 years old. Wow.
It's tough because you don't know what you don't know,
right?
And if everybody around him is doing it and it's normal, everyone's kind of living Grandmaster Flash in his world, he's going to live Grandmaster Flash. The only way you know they're better basketball players than you is when you pack your gym bag, get on the subway, and go to another gym. And you see how they're playing and the level they're playing at. Because you were the man at your gym, right? I see that all the time. People get on buses and trains and planes, and they come to Toronto to play basketball. And they meet up with those kids from Scarborough, right? And they go, uh-oh. What we thought was basketball in Sault Ste. Marie, they came down to Scarborough and they saw the same 13-year-olds doing sham gods and breaking ankles. And they're like, oh my goodness, there's differences. So when hot water meets cold water wins. Hot water needs to go find hotter water. Right? That's all I'm going to say. So think about your circle. Think about who's hot water and who's cold water. And if you find that you end up being warm water, cold water has won.
No said. There's where you can book them, email, Instagram. My brother's always to you and your family and the people you serve. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. We'll see you. And hopefully next time with Ray McMillan, because, and as I said, that people get ready for, I'm going to work on it starting from today. I'm going to call Ray and say, Ray, can you be there? Because we got it. And I have a feeling there'll maybe lineups of people that may want to be on with you guys in regards to this. I think even a Roger Dundas may want to join in on that too. All right.
And, this is the first time I haven't suited up in a while. Ray, I apologize. I'll suit up for that.
All right, then. Take care, my brother. Be well. All right, family. Hey, what? And we went off script. We just went with the flow, and everyone loved it. Hey, also want to say a shout out to Calvin Douglas and Pharaoh Hamid Freeman. Hope I got it right. If not, it was my head, not my heart. And Leslie McEwen from Ottawa. Thank you again for being here. Family, was that fire or what? Come on now. That was all good, wasn't it? All right. Let's do some final things before we get out of here. Like, we're supposed to talk about two other things. We didn't even get to it, family. But it was so good. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I host, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me again, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. If you want to get a hold of Ryan, who should be back on Monday, his email website, RyanOneilKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, email address, workwithme, RyanOneilKnight.com. For myself, website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show. That's the drvibeshow, not full. X/Twitter at drvibeshow. And it's interesting. A number of people watch this live on Twitter. And I was thinking, do people do Twitter anymore? And then email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. If you want to watch replays of this epic conversation, again, the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. All right, that's a wrap. Let's close it up here. Let's get it over here. And we finish up with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. If you're watching this and it's before weekend, have a great one. If you're watching it anyways, have a great day wherever you are. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.